Listen guys, streaming video is great, but it can be really confusing. There's so many different apps to find the TV shows and movies you want to watch. There's usernames, passwords, different menu systems. Sure, we're all used to it by now, but isn't there a better way? Well, Apple TV, with its new Apple TV app, thinks that there is. Before we get into it though, let me tell you what the Apple TV app is not. It's not Netflix. You can't get any Netflix shows, no Stranger Things, no OA, nothing in this app from Netflix. To watch Netflix, you gotta go to the Netflix app itself. The second thing it's not is Apple's Apple TV Plus service. That's the big thing with Oprah and a bunch of other stars coming later this year. Apple hasn't announced the price yet. It's supposed to compete against Netflix, yada yada. This isn't that. Although Apple does say that when Apple TV Plus does roll out, it'll live within the TV app. Now let's talk about what the Apple TV app is. It's right here on the home page of the Apple TV device, sitting next to Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon Prime. When you go into it, you'll see all of these TV shows and movies. They're right there. Doesn't matter what app they're from, it's all gathered in one place. Now usually, when you have the Apple TV app, you can jump into one of these shows and it'll launch another service. So for example, if you want to watch something on Hulu, bam, it'll start up with the Hulu app. The new change here is something called Apple TV Channels. Scroll down here and show you. So Apple TV Channels allow you to subscribe within various services right here within the app. So I'm already subscribed to HBO, so I won't do that, but let's say I want to subscribe to Epix. You can pop it in here, and of course you get this little try it free thing. They all have this. Then you can sign in. Once you sign in, you'll be able to subscribe just like you would with a regular service in another app, but you don't need the Epix app. It all appears right within Apple TV. So right over here you can see I'm already subscribed to HBO. If I want to watch something, like for example, this show that they just have called Game of Thrones, I've heard it's pretty good. You go here and it immediately starts playing. Now this is right within the show, right within the Apple TV app, no extra app required, no bouncing around. You notice I didn't have to sign in, so that's kind of the cool bonus of channels. You don't get an improvement in the price. The HBO costs the same, Showtime costs the same, all these guys cost the same, but Apple has kind of integrated them right within the app. So another advantage of Apple TV is that it works on your iPhone and your iPad. So if you have one of those devices and you have the Apple TV app, it looks very similar to what you have on the screen. The coolest thing about the new improvement of Apple TV Channels is that you can download stuff right to that iPad and iPhone. So if you want to watch Game of Thrones, Cinemax, any of these other channels right on your iPhone or iPad, you can download them immediately into the Apple TV app and watch them without a Wi-Fi connection. That's really cool if you're traveling, on a plane, something like that. And for HBO, it's the first time that you can do this kind of download. The HBO Now app, for example, does not have downloads yet. You can do downloads with a bunch of different other apps, but again, the Apple TV app puts it all in one place. So as you can see, we got all the shows here from various apps coming up on the top. One of the cool things is you can resume if you're watching from a previous show right there. It'll launch straight into the show. You can get all your normal Apple TV controls, you can scrub, you can do all this cool stuff. By the way, that works really well on Apple TV, better than any other streaming device. You can do things like skip ahead 10 minutes. And that works the same regardless of whether you're in the Apple TV app. So for example, you can do a channel and you get that same kind of functionality instead of dealing with, whatever they give you from the HBO Now app or Cinemax, that kind of stuff. So you can go back here to the main menu. Now, you'll notice that Hulu, Amazon Prime Video, those are big apps. Those are not channels. So if you want to watch a show from Hulu or from Prime Video, and you have it as a channel, it's just going to show up here, but it's not going to appear. Here's a Prime Video example, something from my kids were watching, I think. So it'll actually launch the Prime Video app now. Now you're in the Prime Video world, and you don't have as much of that Apple TV app control here. It still looks pretty similar, you get all this, but when you back out, all of a sudden, oh, I'm in Prime. What happened? Whoa, that's crazy. So that's the way that it works with things that aren't channels. Confused yet? So again, for the services that don't participate in channels, like Prime, like Hulu, you're not going to get everything within the Apple TV app. You're going to bounce out to those other apps. So one of the other things Apple TV app offers is sports. You can pop into other apps and it even gives you a live schedule of what's coming next. One new addition is this kids section. So if you go up to the top here, you can see a main library. You pop over to kids. This is all kind of curated content. The other new thing that Apple added is iTunes. So within the library section, it breaks out all your iTunes TV shows, movies. This is an Apple TV 4K, so you see the 4K HDR section there, which I love. And of course, if you had an iPad or iPhone, instead of 4K HDR, you'd see downloaded over here. So again, you can immediately access any of the things that you downloaded via the TV app on your iPad or iPhone from the library section. So I'm gonna pop this guy and just move it out of the way. All right, Samsung TV coming in. Okay, this guy can go this way. Okay, Apple people, that part was for you. That was the Apple TV app on an Apple TV, iPhone, and iPad. But guess what? It's also available on other devices, starting now with these Samsung TVs. This is a 2019 model, 65-inch, similar to before, but there's no box underneath. It's all built in. So here we have the Apple TV app right there next to all the other apps that you're familiar with. You can pop right into it. There it is. So again, very similar to other apps, very similar to what you saw on the Apple TV app before, but this time it's all embedded and controllable on this Samsung TV. Channels are even there too. In fact, I can even go and subscribe to one of them just like before if I wanted to. So we'll pop right out here. There are a couple of differences. So one of the things about the Apple TV app on Samsung, and I'm guessing on other devices when it comes out later this year, is the fact that these channels are pretty much the only other apps that you can get. So yeah, you can get iTunes. We'll scroll up here and show you real quick. You got all your iTunes stuff, right? This is similar to before. It's all here, although there's no HDR breakdown, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure this stuff will appear in HDR once it starts playing. But the other side of the coin is you don't have your Hulu, you don't have your ESPN or your Amazon Prime. So all that stuff is not embedded inside the TV app again. So if you want to watch that stuff, you're going to have to jump into the app itself from Samsung's normal app tray. So that's a look at the Apple TV app on a Samsung TV. One of the things that's not going on here is that consolidation. Unfortunately, you're going to have to pop out to those other apps on the Samsung TV to watch Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, what have you. And bigger picture, that doesn't really happen on an Apple device either. Again, since it doesn't have Netflix, doesn't have YouTube, doesn't have a lot of the content that you're going to watch anyway, you're still going to find yourself bouncing out to those other apps. Sure, it's a little more convenient when you subscribe to channels, even on a Samsung TV, and it's a nice new home for your iTunes, but at the end of the day, the Apple TV app doesn't really move the needle for making things a lot easier to use. For that, Apple's going to have to get a lot more buy-in from a lot of other participants, especially Netflix. So that's a look at the Apple TV app, newly updated for 2019. I'm David Katzmeyer for CNET.